So for my capstone, I've decided to do it on the effects of the Vietnam War on Amerasian children. My mother and father were both born in Vietnam, and my mother was the daughter of an American soldier who served in the Vietnam War. After the war ended, he was sent back home shortly after my mother was born, and they lost contact ever since. My mother's life in Vietnam was filled with adversities, but that all changed when the United States opened their doors to all the Amerasians who struggled in Vietnam after the war with the Amerasian Homecoming Act. She was blessed with the opportunity to live the American dream and escape the discrimination that flooded the streets of Vietnam after the war. This documentary tells a little bit about her story and many others like her. Do I need a...
Explosives over Vietnam, chemical agents like the polymeric accelerant, infantry weapons, and Agent Orange, a mixture of herbicides containing toxic dioxin that resulted in severe health issues to anyone exposed to it for decades, as indicated by weapons in the Vietnam War. The Vietnam timeline states that the number of U.S. troops skyrocketed in the fight for Vietnam independence from 900 in 1960 to 543,000 in 1969. The result? As many as 2 million civilian casualties occurred on both sides due to the war, according to Encyclopedia Britannica's Vietnam War article by Ronald H. Spector. While the outcome of the Vietnam War included the deaths of millions of people, there lies another effect of the war that is seldom considered. As outcasts of the society, the Vietnamese American children, Amerasians, or the racial term coined by Vietnamese communists, Vu Doi, meaning children of the dust, were abused verbally and physically throughout the streets of Vietnam after the war. These innocent children were often abandoned by their mothers, forced to homelessness and starvation, and were prohibited from all the essentials needed to survive in life.
When I young, that she's no good. They say me half American, half Vietnamese, go back into my country, my daddy country. They don't like me. They throw food in me. They hit me. They don't love me when I'm young. 5-year-old until 12, 13, 15 years old. That time I'm half time.
I remember a communist woman walking down the street, and she traveled from Hanoi to Saigon. And she said, "Oh my God, what a beautiful child!" And she would come in and stepping, and her comrade would screaming at her and tell her, "That's the product of Americans. That's all evil in there. Don't touch it; she might bite you." And I remember so recoil for me, like I'm also become poison to her.
No, because my mom don't have money, and they say, no, you go back to my country. They don't let me go to school either.
Không đâu, người ta không có cho học. Người ta nói mày là con nuôi, mày là cháu nuôi, mày làm cho con tao ở nhà đi nào.
Oh, when I'm young, no job. I sell IT in the street.
Nhỏ, một không còn nữa. Bây giờ về nhà rồi tìm thợ may thì dễ tìm rồi.
My mom applied the education because the government opened a lot of Vietnamese children with American come the I come library.
It was not until 1982, 7 years after the war ended, that the United States took responsibility for the American children that their soldiers had created and left stranded in distress and misery. Their solution to provide refuge to the Amerasian children suffering in Vietnam was the passing of the federal legislation designed to ease the immigration process. Beginning in 1982, the U.S. Congress passed the Amerasian Immigration Act, stated by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. This act allowed the immigration for children of a U.S. citizen born in Cambodia, Korea, Laos, Thailand, or Vietnam after December 31st, 1950, and before October 22nd, 1982. Unfortunately, the communist rule expanding in Vietnam resulted in the termination of this act due to the lack of cooperation by the Vietnamese government, who despised the fact that the United States considered the children refugees. Consequently, in 1987, the U.S. Congress passed a bill organized by Robert Amerasian and John McCain, known as the Immersion Homecoming Act. By 2009, 25,000 Amerasians and 60,000 to 70,000 of their relatives immigrated to the United States, reported by the United States government.
I tried 30 years. I looked for him 30 years. Half American, half Vietnam. She tried to help me take the DNA, put in the website, and I found my daddy.
He says he tracked his father, an engineer, to a company called RMK that employed contractors and engineers that went into Vietnam to clean up after the war. He says part of him wonders about meeting his father, but another part tells him not to.
I had this image of my father, this really shining knight in armor, and just take me away from all their troubles.
Not already, but if I can go with my kids, but if don't, I don't need it because not my life.
Unfortunately, Linda was unable to immigrate to the United States because she was separated from her family when she was a child. Now, the process to immigrate to the United States is much more extensive. Immigration requires, at minimum, DNA confirmation of their ancestors. Many Amerasians do not have any proof that their father was American, other than their appearance, because they were often abandoned by their mothers with no evidence of their identity. She is now in the process of trying to gain permission to immigrate from Vietnam to have an opportunity to live the American dream. My family is grateful for the blessing the United States government once granted to Amerasians in Vietnam, as it has been a revolutionary event in our lives. Hopefully, the United States will continue to welcome Amerasians with open arms, as many are still stuck in Vietnam and are dreaming of the land of their father.
So that was my mother. Her name is Lynn, and she told a little bit about her story when she was a child and how she came to the United States. Unfortunately, she had a little sister that ran away when she was younger while they were still in Vietnam, and they weren't able to find her until like last year when my mom took a DNA test and it matched with her in Vietnam, and they've been FaceTiming ever since. So her name was Linda, and she's currently trying to come to the United States to live here, but it's a lot harder than it was back when my mom first immigrated here because of the new immigration laws and stuff like that. Not all Amerasian children got the opportunity my mother did. And the process to immigrate to the United States has evolved ever since. Many of these Amerasians are still living in Vietnam today and dream to come to the land of their fathers. There are a few small nonprofit organizations dedicated to aiding Amerasians in the immigration process. For example, Amerasians Without Borders. Since 2013, Amerasians Without Borders started a DNA program that helped families find their fathers who were American soldiers during the Vietnam War. So this is a Amerasian Facebook group, and it's a closed group that I was put in when my mom was in the process of finding her father. And it's basically volunteers, it's nonprofit, and anyone can post, either if it's you're an American soldier who thinks they had a child in Vietnam, and they could post about it with pictures or any information that they have, and there's certain people who help them look for their family members. And when my mom did Ancestry DNA, this is the results that she got, showing that she was 41% from Asia and 29% from Great Britain. So I hope that my presentation has extended the awareness on the topic of Amerasian children, as well as the nonprofit organizations like Amerasians Without Borders that has dedicated so much time and finances toward helping Amerasians come to the United States and find their birth father. Thank you.